Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Reality Roundup. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the ending of Big Brother 27, Dancing with the Stars, a real quick little thing about Survivor, and then also diving into Amazing Race. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so of course, I'm going to start things off with my thoughts on the Big Brother 27 finale. If you go back and watch the episode 1 of my reality roundup videos, you will see what my predictions were heading into the day of the finale. Now we are a week out. I'm still so excited that Ashley was our winner. Obviously, Morgan would have been a deserving winner as well, but Ashley pulled out that final HOH. She did a phenomenal job of explaining and talking about her game and her strategy, even though production themselves did not do a good job of showing that. I said in my video last week, if Ashley wins, there's going to be a lot of people confused, and boy was I right. So overall, it was a good season. It was entertaining, and even though Ashley was a strategical player, this season really lacked strategy overall for me. So in that vein, it wasn't the best, but it was drama filled. There was entertainment. It was a decent season overall. And these people and the Big Brother 26 cast, they've been living up a lot of drama on the social media streets this week following the finale. Today, on Saturday, things are calming down a little bit, at least with the season 27 cast. And if you are someone that is really going through withdrawals of the Big Brother season, do not worry. If you follow me on TikTok, you can join in on what we are calling the BB Watch Club. We are going back, and currently we are going to be watching season 6, but we're going to try and watch as many seasons as we can before the next season of Big Brother. Each week we're going to watch a week's worth of episodes, so we'll see the HOH nominations, veto ceremony, and the eviction. And then on Saturday nights, we are going to do a live on TikTok where everyone gets to join, discuss. I'm also going back and looking at old archives of the live feed so I can give live feed information at the same time during those conversations as well. I'm going to try and download the lives and post them here on YouTube, but storage wise on my phone, I just don't know if it's going to be a possibility or not. So I might have to try and figure out a different way of doing that, but I will try to. If you're someone that only follows me here on YouTube, you will probably more than likely miss the first one because I am doing that one tonight and this video goes up tomorrow. So there is that there, but you can always join in on, any of the future ones. So I'm really excited for that. So if you, like I said, if you're struggling with moving away from Big Brother, I got your back. All right, let's go ahead and dive into Dancing with the Stars. So obviously this week on Dancing with the Stars, there was a bit of a shocking elimination, and that is really kind of what I want to hone in on here in the beginning of this conversation. So first of all, a lot of people were really, really shocked that Lauren and Brandon were the ones that were eliminated. And I honestly just think that Lauren didn't do as good of a job as what other people are doing in relating and connecting with the audience in general. The story week over week has just been that she is trying to show herself outside of Fifth Harmony, but she's not really doing much to show us that. Like, you can say that, but actually tell us about yourself. Tell us about your story. We want to get to know you, not we want to get to know that you want to be separated from the Fifth Harmony narrative and different things of that nature. So I think other people are just sharing more about themselves personally, and they just become easier to connect to, easier to root for, things like that. I think that's where she lost on the fan vote aspect. But what also did not help her that much is the judges' score. And I understand that overall, what's most important in deciding who is going to be eliminated is the fan vote. However, there are some people that really do weigh in the judges' criticisms and scores when they're considering who to vote for. So her being so early on in the episode and getting such bad scores, which I did not think was a fair scoring on her dance, especially whenever we see what some of the other scores were for some of the other dances that happened later in the episode. I think that also did play a major part in her elimination this week. I just think that people really did not understand how hard it would be for her to do different choreography to a song that she has done thousands of times. When I tell you, I'm a former dancer, and when I tell you that, and I wasn't even like professional or anything like that. Like I danced for a long time, had a dance studio for a small bit. And so like I know, but I don't know. You know what I mean? So just speaking from even my own experience on dances that I've learned throughout my life, if I hear those songs come on, and I haven't done anything with dance myself since like 2016, maybe 2018, but like even still, songs that I danced to when I was like a child, I can jump right back into them. Like the choreography quite literally gets ingrained into your memory and your muscles. And that's me speaking as someone that just did like recreational dance at a studio, not performing the same dance, the same song multiple nights in a row for multiple years, multiple rehearsals to train for a music video. Like it's even more for her than it would be for me because of her career. And I just think it was really not a good choice for her specifically to do any dances that she already knows choreography to the song. And what then made it even worse is them adding some of the original work from home choreography into the dance, and her having to like fight to move to whatever the next new move was going to be rather than the move that she's used to doing after that. A lot of people that don't have dance experience don't realize how hard that would be to do. I think she did well, but I also think, one of the biggest critiques she got from the judges this week was that she wasn't like really hitting all of the choreography. Like she wasn't like strong and hitting everything like that. And I really do think a lot of that has to do with the fact that like she's fighting against her own body and memory to do the correct steps. She did have a small slip up where she did a step wrong. Again, what could play into that? The fact that she's trying not to do steps that she's done for years now. So yeah, I know a lot of people were upset about it. It wasn't who I thought was going to go home, but I kind of understand the fan vote aspect of the whole situation. So it is what it is. I was correct about my assumptions, and I think these were made on TikTok. I don't think I've made them here over on YouTube. But early on in the season, I was talking about Robert Irwin and Dylan Efron, right? They're both going to be around for a while because they have such a large fan base built. Both of them do. But I was talking about how so far in the season, they are doing Robert Irwin a disservice by trying to make him look better than what he actually is. And what I meant by that is the first couple of weeks, he got dance styles that fit best with someone that is really athletic and is really stiff in their movements. I know his first one was a jive. I think maybe the next one was a tango, if I'm remembering correctly. But both of those styles of dance, like it's all about like being really dominant and stiff in your movements. It's not about being soft. And they were doing the opposite with Dylan. Dylan was being challenged in the different dance styles. He's had a mixture of both. And he's done moderately well, better than I would have thought he would do at the mall. He's not like the greatest out there, but he's doing it. He's accomplishing it. And not just accomplishing the choreography, but like I'm saying, like he's being soft when he needs to, and then he's being stronger whenever he needs to. And I think that he will just continue to improve. But finally this week, Robert Irwin gets a dance that's not even the softest style of dance. It is, I would say, medium between a soft and a stiff kind of dance. And his biggest critique is that he's not soft enough. So when it comes time for him to do some of the even more softer dances, he is going to struggle. And so I have thought this whole time that the style of dance choices for Robert Irwin specifically have been very interesting. And I think that they were they were trying to make him seem better than what he actually is But at the end, they were doing him a disservice because we're getting further into the competition now, and you've given him all of these styles of dance that really complement how he just naturally moves, rather than letting him have some of those softer choices early on in the season where the judges are a little bit more lenient. And so I think it's going to do the opposite of what they were hoping it would. But he does still have a really strong fan base, so I could be totally wrong. But that's just kind of been my assumption about like comparison of Dylan and Robert overall. I personally am more impressed with Dylan than I am with Robert when it comes to the actual like learning and improving week over week, because I think Dylan has been more challenged than what Robert has. I will say though, Robert has Dylan beat when it comes to like the charisma and performance aspect. Robert is a really good performer. And there is a difference between being a good dancer and a good performer. But those are my thoughts on Dancing with the Stars. We'll jump in to a real quick little bit of Survivor. Okay, so if I'm being completely and totally honest, I am struggling a bit with Survivor. And I used to watch Survivor whenever I was younger. Like, it was Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race. It was like a family show that we all watched together. But then as I got older, I really only stuck with Big Brother, and the other two kind of fell off for me. And Reality Ally got me back into Survivor last year. She was telling me I need to get caught up before season 50. But honestly, the cast of season 50, like, I barely know any of those people since it's so, like, recent season heavy that I don't even know if I'm going to watch that. This season's going to really determine if I even stick it out and watch season 50. I'm just not loving Survivor. It's kind of boring to me. I'm obviously going to continue watching at least as far as Sophie B lasts because I really want to root her on. However, I'm not making any promises to continue watching after she leaves. I don't know if she wins the whole thing or not, so it might just be that I stick it out the whole way just because of her. But I just found myself, I think the episodes are too long, like genuinely, because I find myself just getting, I'm excited and excited to watch it when it first comes on. And then just as the episode goes on, I start tuning it out, and I'd rather like be on my phone or on my Kindle or whatever the case may be. But it does not keep me engaged for a whole hour and a half episode. It genuinely doesn't. So just a couple of notes from this week's episode. The Yellow Tribe is super, super strong. And I really like, I think her name is MK or MC. I really like her, and I like how she went and told Sophie, I think it's Sophie S. It's not Sophie B, but Sophie on the Yellow Tribe went and told her that she's kind of being talked about. I did want to see them team up. I know that they both wanted to team up with each other based on preseason interviews, so I'm really excited that that's kind of actually carried out throughout them actually meeting each other and getting to talk and stuff. So that was good to see. The whole journey thing, I do like how they've changed that up so far and that it's not an automatic lost vote. I absolutely hated the whole journey situation, jumping back into it last season. However, I think that Alex was so stupid letting literally the entire tribe know that he had a hidden immunity idol. There was only one person that didn't help him find it, and then he ended up telling that one person that he had it anyways. Like, the dumbest choice, I think, ever that I've seen recently, but I mean, it worked for this elimination, but I would not be surprised if they don't try and flush it if they go back again next week. Hopefully, though, they actually win a competition. I'm getting so nervous for Sophie B. I was so nervous during this episode that they were going to turn on her because of the puzzle thing. I'm like, Sophie girl, next competition, do not sign up for the puzzle part. Leave it on somebody else. Go do something else. Please, for the love of all things, leave the puzzles alone for now. Okay? So that's all on Survivor. Hopefully this week is better. It's the fact that The Amazing Race is keeping me more entertained and more engaged than Survivor. So let's jump into The Amazing Race. Some people might argue that Amazing Race is more entertaining to me this year because of the Big Brother cast, and maybe you're right, but I will say I enjoyed last season of The Amazing Race as well. But I am loving it even more now that I have all of my Big Brother people on there. And I think that this week was a really fun episode. I cannot believe that so many people just followed each other and got off on the wrong stop. And I know that they didn't show it, but I know Izzy was cussing Jag out. I know she was telling Paige, of all people, why did I believe him? Why didn't I double check it and go with my, like, I know that Izzy was mad that she, like, blindly followed Jag. Which I mean, that's what the edit showed. I don't know if that's actually what happened, that she blindly followed him, but that's like it kind of seemed like Jag was the one leading the charge, saying like, this is our stop, and it in fact was not. But I don't know, it caused for a lot of interesting splits of all of the different teams. I absolutely love and adore Hannah and Simone Chada. They must be protected at all costs. I've been saying since the beginning that they are going to be a team that just really immerses themselves in every country and the experience as a whole. And we are definitely seeing them do that. If you watched last week's episode, there is a part where they're speaking Czech language to someone to try and ask questions and get directions. And they've said in Chat BCC that their goal each leg was to spend like 20 minutes with a cab driver or a train conductor or like a local, and really get a feel for the language and try and learn the language as much as they possibly could in a very condensed and short amount of time. And honestly, I think that that is also a reason that it really helped them in the challenge, that memory challenge that they chose to do. Apparently, some more tea from the Chat BCC is that Taylor and Kylan, this was a very rough leg for them. Taylor got really overwhelmed because this whole train situation resulted in a lot of the people like missing out on sleep. They did not sleep well. They were really just having to kind of like camp out in the train station, but there were only certain areas they could be in, and not all of them were like easy places to sleep. They all said that it was very, very cold the whole time. And so just from the sleep deprivation plus the stress of being in the race, plus just being like overwhelmed by the whole situation and scenario, Taylor said she did have a moment where she like kind of flipped, and her and Kylan, I guess, got into a pretty big argument, and it didn't make the episode. They also apparently got into an argument with Alex and Kat at the mat, because I don't remember if it made the episode, but apparently Alex said something about there being cracks in the Taylor and Kylan relationship, and Taylor and Kylan had checked in right before them, and so like they heard it, or no, they didn't hear him say that, but Kat was afraid that they had, and so when they met up afterwards, Kat was like apologizing on Alex's behalf and being like he didn't mean it, he was just making a joke, and she was crying and carrying on. Taylor hadn't heard anything about it, and then Kat told what he said, and Taylor and Kylan got mad about it. Apparently production told them to like do not talk about it until the cameras are back on you. They went and got the camera crew, and then they kind of got into it, and then it didn't make the episode. So I don't know, since it was after they had checked in, maybe it'll be at the beginning of next week's episode. We'll have to wait and see. If so, sorry that I didn't give you a spoiler alert, but I don't know that it's a spoiler. So that's that on that. I think that's all my thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Reality Roundup. And I'll be back next week with more Amazing Race, Dancing with the Stars, and probably Survivor as well. Wednesday, if you want to check it out, I'm going to be posting a video with all of my thoughts on the brand new Taylor Swift album. And then I have some really fun content coming up in the next couple of weeks for the month of October. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because I have a lot of fun content that will be coming your way very, very soon. But until the next one, see you later.